Hello everybody, this is JB's 9F Even Star Emporium here, back at again, and this time is something a little bit interesting because, as you know, today is Christmas Eve and it's going to be Christmas Day tomorrow and I'll be getting loads of new things, and speaking of new things, we're going to actually, it's going to be like, oh sorry, it's going to be like, I'm not really going anywhere for Christmas, but it's kind of a disappointment. But today I have a lot that I want to show you that I got for 40 quid, and well, I really didn't want to get into it. As you know, I'm quite into my collectibles items a lot, and what this is going to be a recent purchases thing, like some people do. And I've seen people do recent purchases online, and they even did unboxing videos and, you know, such and such. So I thought I might as well do one. Alright then, let's go. So the first thing I have here is, so I'm going to do the Ertl range first. I have Ertl and a bit of Brio and Wooden Railway. So let's start off with an Ertl item. This is the Metallic Thomas. And usually wait a second. Sorry. Usually I don't really collect these shiny items, but since I found one, there were two of them that one of them was in a bit of bad condition, but this one was in fine condition, just had a bit of damage from it. Well, it wasn't too damaged in particular, but it's nice to have one of the metallic items. I've never had any of the Ertl metallics growing up as a kid, and I never even got the mic in box before. I've only ever had the silver and the gold Thomas though. I do have a few other special edition Thomases. I also had the Christmas Thomas with a toy box roughly, which unfortunately I've seen better days a little bit. But it's nice to have like a metallic item in my collection, although this face is a bit crooked though. I would say the criticisms are the missing buffers on and the red running board, which is not painted white, but I might touch that someday. But I'm not really too stressed about it. But in a way, I do hope to get a metallic Percy, and I do want to get the other metallics as well. Like James and Henry are quite the rarest, and maybe Lord Harry. But I'm glad I managed to pick up a Ertl metallic Thomas that was in good condition. But in comparison, I have a Ertl Thomas, a standard one to compare him to. As you can see, the only difference I can find, I know that the buffers, is that the paint scheme is already the same, although the metallic lining through the metallic is quite a bit dark in my opinion. I really want to get these in box as well, just so like I can have them for display. Yeah, I do want to get, my goal is to find the other in life, is to find the other of the special edition Ertls. Well, maybe if I do succeed someday, I might be able to have all of them. Well, who knows? So, maybe one day I might get these in box. I might be lucky and find them Percy in good condition. Who knows? Only time will tell. Say goodbye to the metallic Thomas, and let's move on to our next item. So the next item in this unboxing lot is something interesting that I've wanted to complete. It's a mail coach. So now I officially have 4 Ertl mail coaches, making it like from the episode Thomas Percy in the Post Train, so that Percy is pulling 2 and Thomas is pulling 2. That makes more sense, but they also use the same bases as the express coaches and Gordon's special coach. And that's all I can find about them. Although, I just noticed something when I was taking this out. I noticed the buffer's beam was a bit crooked. And the buffer, this buffer right there is about to snap also. I'll have to be very careful. It's harder to find these kind of carriages that have the pin attached to them. Mainly the express coaches, because I want to get the express coaches that have pins on them. Because from my childhood, all 3 of them lost their pins. Although I do have one that I got with a milk tanker and a fuel tanker at one point. Well, you can tell it's a bit sun faded on the front and the back and the right, but on the left it looks okay. So not really else to go through detail with it, so let's move on. For my next item I'm going to be showing is a set of 2 wagons. The Defuse-It Gunpowder Fans. These are the Scarlery Railway rolling stock, which are the only ones, as well as the slate trucks. You can also get slate trucks as well, because that's the only 2 pieces of Scarlery Railway rolling stock you can ever find. As you can tell, I now have 6, but I have 2 of them from my childhood, which actually don't have pins, so I'm planning to get rid of them in favour to replace them. The ones are in bad condition. However, these ones are quite in good condition, as you can tell. Hardly a scratch on the lettering or on the hardly a broken coupling. So that means I finally have. It's nice to have something that's in good condition without any missing pieces. So otherwise, I will just flip these over to the side and move on to my next item. So it's another pair of these now. These are the troublesome trucks. Unfortunately, though, the one that the one that has his eyes closed was actually screwed on the wrong way. Don't know how that happened though. Might have to fix that. But so now I officially have 10 of these. Although I'm planning to get rid of. I have got rid of 2 of them that I'm doing for a car boot, but the other 2 from my childhood have the missing pins. The one without the pins I want to replace so I can use the ones that have pins so that they can all couple up to anything, because it's nice to just have. If they have pins, they work fine, but if they don't, it's a tragedy. I wouldn't say it's a tragedy, but I will say though, but it's just a bit disappointing and frustrating that I had to use blue tack or even tape for these, but never mind. It's nice to pick up something that is fully part of something. It's nice to pick up something that's in good condition that can still be attached to something. So let's move on. For my next item, this is a bit obscure. This is a well wagon that came with the Chinese Dragon, although I have the Chinese Dragon already, but I do have this flatbed though, but unfortunately though, the couplings have snapped off, unfortunately. But it's nice to have another one of these well wagons that you can see. As you can see, it's made in 1985, but it was released in 1998. I think this was just a repaint of the Save from Scrap flatbed that came with a scrap trailer. But didn't buy it because of the missing scrap, I think. I don't mind. I don't think so. Well, I think it's nice to just have another well wagon, but I might get rid of the other one. If I get a second well wagon, depends, but I'll just keep them for purposes of only. So not much else to go through, although I do have the Chinese Dragon, but it's a little bit of a worn-out item. But anyways, I'll just let you be the judge of that. I'm just going to move on now to my next item. For the next item, it's the last Ertl item, and it's the fire engine. So yes, I have a second fire engine now. Like for instance, if I wanted to recreate Thomas Percy and Old Slow Coach, I would definitely needed 2 of these, but it's nice to have 2. So that they're just like the ones that appeared in Thomas Percy and Old Slow Coach. This is like to be from a similar vehicle design from the 1950s or 60s. I'm not entirely sure, because I think some of the episodes from Series 5 were, I think the episodes Season 5 at some points were set in the 60s, and I think they have those bases would come into modern world later on in life. There are a couple of chips on this one though, just a few one on the roof and one on the side, and I think this is a 2001 item, but it's nice to have a duplicate of a piece of a road vehicle that I finally have now. I think the front does remind me a bit of the Sodor mail van. I just noticed there's another chip next to on its right. But it's kind of a cool one. They don't have hoses, unlike like those. I don't know. Never mind. I'll leave that to you. But it's nice to have a second one of these. So I think that's the last Ertl item I can finally cover. I need to do a bit more research on my history though. But anyways, now that's out of the way, let's go on to the next bit. I think the next one's going to be a big exciting one. So this first, with those Ertls out the way, I am now going to be looking at the wooden railway items now. I also got a few wooden railway items. This is a 2001 wooden railway Thomas. I wrote the dates on the ones. I thought for a moment this was 2000, but it's 2001, thank goodness. There's something a bit in his mouth, like maybe eating something, but oh well, not too fussed. There's a bit of a dust on his back there, some edge wear on his bunker and on his roof, but I think this Thomas is in good condition. Well, I have another 2001 Thomas, but it's up in the attic along with the others. I did not get that. Now, there's a bit of a story behind this. When I was at my old school back in 2007, someone gave me one of these, but it was in really rough shape, and it had someone's name on the bottom. But there was also a Brio Thomas as well that I had in that condition. But I really want to get another Brio Thomas, but I'll talk about another bit of Brio later. But this Thomas, I'd like to try and use this Thomas in some videos, but I've used the 1996 Thomas in a lot of my videos, but I used them a lot, just out of videos reasons. Well, anyways, this is like the one that you get a lot of the sets back in the day. Back in the early Learning Centre, you would get the, I think the Brio Thomas, which is more popular to sell, because of the detail. The old style Thomas wooden railway models are more hard to find, but I was lucky enough in the UK to pick up this. It was just a $5, but if they were to go for £2, that'd be much more better. But anyways, never mind. Moving on now for another Thomas wooden railway. Here's Diesel 10. Wait, so this Diesel 10 here, you can tell, is the Mattel 2014, I think, Diesel 10. I think this is the right basis to an accurate class warship 42. The details on the back are not coloured in, but I might come along with a Sharpie and fix that. He does have a little bit of a green mark there on the back, and he has some edge wear though, but I've never bought a Mattel item secondhand before, but it's nice to officially pick up one from a secondhand item. And in comparison, I also have my Brio Diesel 10 from my childhood to show it to you. As you can tell, this Diesel 10 does look like nothing like the Diesel 10 we usually see. It's like a bit like a carriage or some sort. I think they used the Daisy body for this, but pinching away just goes rocking all the way around, and he can just fly it whatever random place he wants. The face kind of looks a little bit like Diesel 10, if it will focus. Yeah, I think that's a good Diesel 10 representation, classic Diesel 10 face. It has bogies on the bottom, but if I compare it to the Diesel 10, these stripes are going left, whereas on the Mattel one, the stripes go right. But it's completely symmetrical, but you can tell there's white lining on his model, on the Brio model, whereas around the black areas, and on the Mattel one, it's just plain black. He has vents on his Mattel model, but not on the Brio model. Yeah, and that's basically the same. Although his handrails are actually silver Mattels, on the Brio one, they're just black. And with this Mattel Diesel 10, his pinchies can go back and forth. And I think all Thomas Wooden Railway Diesel 10s have that feature. Whereas on this Brio Diesel 10, it looks like a mobile crane. Which I think does look a bit strange. So I think, in conclusion, this Diesel 10 is way better than the Brio one. Although, if you want to go for the Brio Diesel 10, I don't blame you. Just, if you feel like you want to have something a bit more of a realistic look, go for this item. Oh well then. But next, moving on now, we have something a little strange. It's just a little cargo piece. From the Mattel, I think it came with a Mattel Cranky, I believe. It says Brendan Bay Shipping Co., but don't know what that thing underneath is represent. It does have a magnet, which you can actually hook up to something. Like if I bring my Brio Diesel 10 in, just let me see how I can do that. I think he would not be able to... Wow. Just like a mobile crane. But it just... Yeah, well, it's just not really much. It would come with Mattel... When you got this, like, new, you would get a Mattel cranky, or a cargo cart. I think they did sell this with Mattel cranky. Yeah, that was the only place you can get one of these from. But I think it's nice to have another piece of cargo you can add to your collection, because I like to add, like, try and make my videos, like, really good looking. Like, if I needed more stuff, like scenery, yeah, that's why when I need to buy a specific piece for it. So, also for a fact, I noticed it does kind of almost fit in the Ertl well wagon. It might fit on the Henry's Forest log car, but I don't know. Well, we'll see. So, I think I'll move on now. Moving on now, so let's go. Next is an item I got long ago when I was at my old school. This is a little log truck, which actually has 2 logs. It would have come with 4, but unfortunately I could only see 2. They were being sold for £1, this one. And I found the logs that came with it, and I just didn't want to have just the pieces separate, but I do have another one of these. It came with a blue, like, square, steamy, diesel-looking train, but it's just... I don't use those in my videos, but this actually, the base of this is plastic, and the logs and the body is wooden, as well as just the wheels and the chassis is just wooden. But I now have 2 of these, and I have 6 of the logs. I could share one of the logs with the other, which makes sense, because having 4 can really be a little bit of a hazard for just one truck. And I also noticed that when I take the logs out, when I showed you that cargo piece, it can also fit in the log wagon, which I experimented ages ago with other pieces of merchandise. Well, this is a Mattel one, but I think the learning curve cargo might fit better in there and that Ertl well wagon. But, well, we'll see what happens. But, well, anyway, I got one of these back in 2012, I want to say, with a yellow, with a blue diesel back at a Tesco's in Bournemouth, I want to say. I don't know. And I also got a green engine with a box fan. I really want to get more of those box fans because they look a bit very realistic in that style. But they're quite hard to find nowadays. But it's Brio and Wooden Rail are quite hard to find. But speaking of Brio, is this little red truck here, and it's completely made of plastic like the previous ladder. I've seen people with one of these before, but never had one in person. It came with a green pipe, but I don't know if that's the actual pipe that comes with this truck. And I also want to test the Mattel cargo. I think the cargo fits fine from, if you put it in that from a cargo car, they fit jolly well fine, but a pipe like this, it's nice to have one of these as well. It just says Brio on the side, and this whole body is actually made of plastic, but people are just worried about the plastic harming the environment and such. But so if you have any like Brio toys, like you want to try and keep yours safe, so just don't leave toys out in the environment to harm so badly, because it can really affect the wildlife. So with all that out of the way, let's move on to something big, shall we? So this next item is something really interesting, as I've only had one of these before. This is the Brio curved crossing, which is actually like the switches in a diamond. Switches, but basically in a diamond, which can actually go one way, and go one way, or that way, or go symmetrical. And now there's a bit of a story on this. I got one of them in a lot last year with the Clickety Clack track, and there was only one piece in there. There wasn't only just one, but it would have been nice if there was 2. If there were 2. And looking at this packaging, it brings back so many good childhood memories of when I had these boxes, and before my parents threw them out. I think the last time I saw them were around 2009, but I stumbled across them in 2009, but they were got thrown away, but oh well. Kind of wish they were kept. And it shows that just a basic starter on the figure eights and such and such. I mean, if I wanted to do this to build Knapford yards, I mean, I've seen a few use. I've noticed one user, Sylvan 2K10, has a few of these. I think he used them for his I think it was like when he did Knapford yards. Let's hope it's all there. Yeah, this door is actually open. Hopefully both are in there. Yes, both are in there. Yes, both of them are. There's two in this box, and thankfully though, there are two in one way. You could do it like this. Like if, for instance, if a train, for instance, Thomas crosses somewhere, he could like actually stop and then wait until that engine has passed. But it's nice to have something else that you that isn't part of a piece of track that you didn't have. I really want to get some of the clickety-clack track curve 3.5 curves, but anyway, that's another story for another day. Now the next one is a bit odd, but there is a bit of an interest in this one. It's a railway engine box from Tesco, but as a surprise, when I open it, there's a Brio troublesome truck. Interesting. I've always wanted one of these troublesome trucks. Never could get hold of. Although, back in 2013, I got there was a truck similar to this I got. It was the Brio Scruffy, which actually shared the same basis as this Brio troublesome truck. And when I look at it, I mean, and I also got a Bass car and a China clay car, but I got solar railroad repair separately. That stuff. And if I look at that face, it does kind of remind me of that face from the Giggling Troublesome Trucks 3, but only in 3D. And the side detail looks really good on this one. There's a sticker from 1996, if this will focus. Yeah, it does say. No name on the bottom. It's just basically the same as the Brio Scruffy. I think this and the Brio Scruffy are the same. I really want to get more of these troublesome trucks. Maybe get a few more of them. It would be nice to have like more than just one, because just having one isn't just enough for me. I like to have a whole rake of each piece, and not feel like it's just one after another. But when I look at this box, it's meant to have a railway engine, and this is the box that came with it, kind of a bit strange, so it's just a little bit odd that they included it. But it's a shame it didn't have its right packaging. But I'll show you something big if we move on now. And last, but certainly not least, it's part of another Brio Thomas item that I got, if I can focus my camera properly. It's the Brio Thomas Railway Crossing Expansion Pack. Now, there's a bit of a story for this. The only destination I had from the Brio Thomas range growing up was the Wellsworth station. And I also had there were some crossings that I did have as a kid as well. They were like these little American style crossing gates where they're just like one opens one side. It was a bit like American's version, but I think there's a little sticker there. I think it says £19 something that was brought brand new. Sorry if I stammer or stutter. And I also have another crossing I want to show quickly, if I can get it for comparison, if I do have it. Oh, there it is. It looks a bit like that crossing released back in, I want to say 2007. Yeah, it does say 2007. I don't know. Maybe it was released 2007, but I'm not sure. This is the Lights and Sounds Crossing, but it does look a bit like the Highway Crossing from when it was released in 1995. But it was mainly just rope pieces connected together. But what you would get is like I think that's a 6-inch piece of track. This crossing itself, and you also get a figurine of what looks like the signalman from Thomas Percy and the Dragon. Some sort. Here is the sides. I used to have the Brio packages my models came with back in my childhood, but I think they might have got thrown away. But I want to keep this for the future's sakes. Because if you look, alright, let's look on the back now. You can see Thomas and Bertie from the episode Thomas and Bertie. Yeah. And also there's like an immediate expansion with an extra piece of track A. It's based on an authentic 1940s railway crossing. That's a bit of interest in there. Bit of education to show the kids. Integrated single railway crossing track. I don't know if the double tracks exists. There's also a railway roleplay fun with signalman character. Switch one gate to control diagonal gates. If I can get this open, I hope it's all in there. Yes, it's in there. However, for some reason, it only came with this. It only just came with the crossing. And the man, which is a bit strange though, because I was expecting it to come with a track and the pan block, but oh well. If I compare it to, take a moment to compare it to this crossing right here, the difference is that these gates on the Learning Curves crossing, St. Hat's Street crossing, actually open just by themselves, just one by itself. If I were to do it like this, they can actually open another gate. Well, it is quite hard to do. I don't know why. It's because I think this is the only gate that's actually functioning properly. Because when you get to that, because it just sucks. Also, I noticed there's on the bottom they have some like these screw things, which actually might work if I unscrew it and maybe fix it on. Maybe it's something a bit loose in there. But who knows? Also, I noticed it says. Also, I noticed that the Brio sticker is starting to come off. Unfortunately, you can see that. Yeah. Well, the only destination from the Brio Thomas range I had growing up was the Wellsworth station, but now I have a couple more pieces from that range. I now have a Troublesome truck. I now have the Troublesome truck and the Signalman. Maybe I could do something like this, but just didn't think it will work that well. But I'll just get that out of the scene. And it's nice to just have something that I've wanted in my childhood but never got until now. So, well, hope you oh sorry. Even though it did meant to come with a piece of track, it didn't, I'm afraid, unfortunately. But it's nice that something came with it, though. Yeah, and I just noticed this signalman here. I think this guy with it does have a red hat, but I don't know who it resembles with that moustache. It looks Italian to me, but anyways, moving on now. So I think I'll wrap this up by saying goodbye, folks, but not before I show you everything. So, here's the whole lot then, with the packages. So my first favourite out of this lot is the Metallic Thomas. My second favourite is the Railway Crossing Expansion Pack. And my third is this Brio Troublesome Truck. Fourth would be the Diamond Crossing. And fifth would be this 2001 Thomas. And don't forget Diesel 10 and the Rolling Stock, they look cool. But I think my favourite out of the slot is the Crossing by itself and that man. So, I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. What was your favourite item? Let me know by giving some positive feedback. So, take care, folks. Have a good Christmas and see you all soon. Goodbye.